Hello everyone, X-Wall Kill Bethelite here. And this past Sunday's Watchtower discussion was about counsel and accepting counsel. And it gave some examples of people who did not accept counsel and people who did. Well, this brings up a few points of discussion. And you can rest assured that these points of discussion were not discussed at any Kingdom Hall. Because we have the freedom of speech to be able to openly discuss things without having to be worried about saying the wrong thing that Watchtower doesn't want to hear and being shunned for it. So let's discuss this past Sunday's Watchtower. You can also use the word advice when you're talking about counsel. Some people may not know what that word really is, but it's almost the same as just accepting advice, listening to people when they try to give you some direction. Well, that brings up a question. At what point does a person or group or organization's qualifications for giving counsel come into question? After they have falsely predicted the end of the world multiple times, maybe a person may think, well, somebody that is falsely predicting the end of the world, maybe that's not where I want to get my counsel or advice. How about the big blunder with child sex abuse? All those children going to the elders, going to the Kingdom Hall because they were taught growing up that Jehovah focuses primarily on that Kingdom Hall, so that Kingdom Hall is the best, safest place for them. This is what the kids think. That Kingdom Hall is the best, safest place for them to go and tell an adult that someone else has touched them inappropriately or sexually. They were taught that everyone outside of the Kingdom Hall is somewhat affected by Satan. That's the police, that's the government, that's from the president on down. Jehovah's Witnesses believe, and this is why they don't want to get involved with voting and all these other things, is they think that all of these people, organizations, and groups are controlled by the devil. So, of course, those children being taught that are going to go one place to tell an adult that they have been touched sexually, the Kingdom Hall. Well, Jehovah's Witnesses, governing body, elders dropped the ball majorly because all of these children that came to them because they were taught this is the only place I can go where I can trust people. Everybody else is worldly, including the police. This is the only place I can go where I can trust people. So they went to what did they get? They got to have two witnesses. The two-witness rule came into effect. Well, did somebody else see this person touch you inappropriately? No. Well, not only are we not going to pursue it or believe it, we're not going to tell the police. So it can't even get investigated. And this went on for countless years until they recently came out with a Watchtower saying, oh, okay, now it's okay to tell the police. Why would they have to come out with that if it was always okay to tell the police if somebody was touched inappropriately, right? So not only did they drop the ball with the 1975 end of the world prediction, I believe before that it was Rutherford building this big mansion, calling it Beth Serene, and saying that all the people in the Bible, the famous people in the Bible, are going to be resurrected, and I need a mansion to put them in. Well, I think to this day, the mansion, Rutherford is dead, and none of those people had ever gotten resurrected. All these people, I mean, we're going through situation after situation and asking, why should I get counsel from an organization that has a historical pattern of misleading people, false predictions, dropping the ball on child sexual abuse? All of that has to do with their teaching. Matter of fact, that goes back to their teaching with the child sex abuse being allowed to continue without being reported to the police. The teaching that Jehovah's Witnesses are all loving, and everyone outside of Jehovah's Witnesses, they're all worldly. That teaching that I can't trust the police, I can't trust anybody else. My counselor at school is worldly. I'm not even really supposed to talk to them. You know, so it's there. Those teachings misled people and created a situation within that organization where sexual misconduct, all sorts of different things, were allowed to go unreported to the police, and those people just were able to molest people rampantly. Why would I get counsel? At some point, you have to question a person's credentials. Show me your resume. What's wrong with that? If you're going to go and pay money, people give Watchtower money. If you're going to go pay money to go to a counselor, what's wrong with looking at their credentials? How long have you been a counselor? What's the reviews, if there are any, on this counselor? What does everyone else say that went to this counselor? If large groups of people all around the country, all around the world, are giving this counselor bad reviews and saying that they were misled and misguided by this counselor, why would I sign up to listen to them in specific? Very important question. For everyone that was studying that Watchtower article, that's basically telling you to be moldable, listen to us, right? Listen to our direction, even if you don't really like how it's said. Listen to it because it benefits you, right? They want to have an article like that, but the elephant in the room, why should anyone listen to you? There was also, going through the whole laundry list of reasons why not to listen to counsel coming from Watchtower or anyone that Watchtower has appointed, because that's who let all this child molestation go for so long. All these elders, right? We just had 2 elders, I believe, in court, and they lost their court case, and they're being sentenced, or have already been sentenced, for essentially covering up the things that were mentioned. So with all this going on, all this misleading going on, elders, they weren't able to guide anyone in the correct way, because essentially whatever Watchtower says, they do. Watchtower says do it, they say. Watchtower says jump, they say how high. Elders cannot guide and direct anyone separate from Watchtower. And Watchtower has probably got one of the worst track records in regards to guiding and directing its members. But yeah, we had the 1975, or let's go beyond that, the 1914, the generation of 1914 that will never pass away before the end of this system occurs. That's something that I was personally taught growing up, that the end of the world must be close, because the generation of 1914, they're getting older and older and older, and they can't all pass away before the end of the world, according to Watchtower. And Watchtower had to change the teaching because it became so blatantly obvious that they were wrong. Whenever Watchtower is wrong, they don't just accept that they're wrong. They call it the light getting brighter. Why would you accept counsel or advice from someone who can never accept when they're wrong? Anytime they're wrong, oh, the light has just gotten brighter for me. I didn't just mislead and misguide all these people for all these years. The light got brighter for me. It was dim when I misled all those people. The light was dim. Well, Watchtower needs to turn the light on before giving counsel. Isn't that a good idea? Talking about the light getting brighter and brighter. Before you try to guide someone else in their family, give them counsel. Have a Watchtower telling everyone to sit and listen to their counsel. Well, maybe you should turn the light on, all the way on, so you can stop saying that the light got brighter every time you get something wrong and mislead everybody. We're tired of the light getting brighter. Change the light bulb, cut it on, use a flashlight. Do what you have to do, because Watchtower's ability to give counsel comes into question. Watchtower is probably the worst place to go and get counsel, as a matter of fact. And I don't think that that is an exaggeration. Going to the place that has a track record of getting pretty much 90% of everything they teach wrong and having to change it later, no one in their right mind would go there intentionally for counsel. Right? So the point being, all those mishaps and missteps, at what point, when the individual Jehovah's Witnesses start to question Watchtower's ability to lead and guide. Watchtower has already admitted that they're not inspired. They're not being directed by God. That's men when they're getting all these things wrong and misleading everybody. So why should everyone listen to these men in particular? Why? The track record is pretty bad, pretty poor. Also, this brings up another point. All these things would be, there's no reason why these things couldn't be discussed in the Kingdom Hall. But that brings us to our next point as to the reason why Watchtower is being such a hypocrite and saying, all of you listen to counsel. It doesn't matter if you like the counsel You don't want to be that person who only listens to the counsel if it's something you want to hear. That was something that was mentioned in the Watchtower. You want to be the person to listen to counsel because you can only benefit from listening to counsel. Well, Watchtower is Watchtower is the worst when it comes to listening to counsel. As a matter of fact, elders, the governing body, all these are just men. They're just regular men. We know this because they've gotten virtually every teaching from the start of Watchtower's history to present day. They've gotten them all wrong. So yeah, they're just regular men. And these regular men, if anyone tries to give them counsel or direction or advice or point something out that might be an issue, they call them apostate. They do the furthest thing from what they're telling everyone else, which is to accept counsel, to listen. It might benefit you. This could help you if someone is bringing you counsel, even if it's kind of uncomfortable. Even if it's something you don't want to hear, you should listen to it. This is what Watchtower is telling everyone, where if anyone brings any counsel or direction or tips or issues to Watchtower, Watchtower calls them a name. They call them an apostate, right? If you're a member and you have something that you want to point out and it's not what we want to hear, well, you're an apostate and we don't want your family talking to you, and we want to shun you, and we want to do everything in our power to dissuade people from giving us counsel. We're regular men just like anyone else. We should be able to accept counsel, especially since Watchtower is telling all of you to accept counsel. Well, if Watchtower cannot accept counsel, and it's to such an extreme degree that they get so upset if someone points out something about Watchtower or tries to, help them with something that they're wrong about, well, they want to separate families. That's what the whole shunning thing is about. They call you an apostate, and what that means is they're saying God is mad at you because you tried to do what we told everyone else to do, which is, when someone gives you counsel, listen to it. You tried to give us counsel, so now God's mad at you. Now you shouldn't talk to your own son or your own daughter. Now you got fathers that hadn't talked to their own daughters and who knows how long. It seems like Watchtower or Jehovah's Witnesses are the last group of people on earth that should have been talking about accepting counsel. That is extremely hypocritical. They are the last people that need to talk about accepting counsel when they toss anybody in their organization trying to give them direction out, or trying to give direction that they don't want to hear. They toss them out. The hypocrisy is just unreal. And then individual elders, not just the organization. The organization itself has got a very poor record when it comes to giving direction because they keep getting things wrong. If you get so many things wrong, you have to come up with a doctrine for your errors. You done got a lot wrong. The whole light gets brighter. It's a literal Jehovah's Witness teaching. They had to come up with a teaching, a doctrine, because they done got so much stuff wrong. We're not just questioning the organization. we're questioning the elders individually. I know elders that are on their third, fourth wife. Why should I listen to them? You got your direction coming from Watchtower. We all know how unreliable that is. But what about the actual individual elders like to pull people to the side? They like to pull people to the side and tell them this and tell them that and direct them with this or that. And you got elders who are on their third, fourth wife themselves. You got elders that committed immorality and drunkenness and domestic violence and who knows what else. Why should you listen to that person? This is something that Jehovah's Witnesses should ask themselves. Before reading a Watchtower and without thinking, just doing whatever you're told from whoever you're being told it from, you should think, why should I listen to an organization that constantly gets so many things wrong? Why should I listen to this specific elder who failed with his own family so many times that he's on his third or fourth wife? Why? A person would be much better getting religious counsel from a church that has not had a history of getting things wrong. Their Watchtower is batting about like a zero as far as hitting the ball. They miss every time. When it's crunch time, don't call Watchtower up to the bat because they're going to miss. They're going to swing and miss. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. 937-789-4029. We'll discuss it. X-Wall Killed Bethelite signing out.